Chapter 103, a 104. It seems that I really underestimated the seventh universe and its mortals before. I didn't expect the mortals in their universe to reach this level. It's incredible, Belmod said with a gloomy face. It seems that for this competition we will need to call Jiren back, no matter what. If Jiren doesn't participate, with just Toppo and Dispo, we might really not be able to beat the seventh universe, he continued. I just wonder if Jiren will participate in such a competition. From what I know about him, he should not be willing to participate. Toppo spoke from the side. Jiren didn't have contact with any of them. He had the justice in his heart and wanted to rid the universe of all evil alone. Even if Belmod went out in person, he might not be able to convince Jiren. Relax. I know what's on Jiren's mind, so I'm sure I can convince him. Belmod showed an inscrutable smile. At this time, the Grand Priest's voice sounded again, announcing the result of the match. The second match was won by Trunks from the seventh universe. Speaking of which, is this the only mortal level in your ninth universe? It seems a bit too weak, the Grand Priest said lightly, glancing at the ninth universe. Unexpectedly, the two matches were resolved in just 1 second with decisive victories. It seemed that even if they participated in the Tournament of Power, the ninth universe would be eliminated soon. This way, the title of the ninth universe as the last one was well-deserved. The Grand Priest's comment scared Hakaishin Sidra and Kaioshin Ro from the ninth universe, making them tremble. Their expressions were also very dignified. Originally, they thought the dangerous trio of their ninth universe were very strong, but now it seemed the strength gap between them and the seventh universe was too great. Although the boss of the dangerous trio, Bergamo, was very strong, compared to those from the seventh universe, he seemed insignificant. Now they could only pin all their hopes on the third match. Bergamo, you must win this match. If we lose all 3 matches, we will most likely be punished by Zeno-sama and Daishinkan-sama, Sidra said to Bergamo firmly. This was really embarrassing. In front of many gods, their universe lost so unbearably. In a real match, it was very likely that they would be eliminated first. Yes, Sidra-sama, I will do my best. Bergamo nodded firmly. Meanwhile, Lavender and Basil looked ashamed. Initially, they were confident, with Basil even claiming he could eliminate the 3 contestants from the seventh universe by himself. They didn't expect to be so vulnerable. Whoosh! In the next second, Bergamo's body appeared in the ring, and Goten appeared opposite him almost simultaneously. Boy, I have to say that your seventh universe is really strong, and you managed to eliminate my 2 younger brothers. But in this match, you have absolutely no chance of winning, Bergamo said confidently to Goten. His strength was much greater than his 2 younger brothers, and he had a hidden skill. By absorbing his opponent's strength, his body could enlarge, and his power would increase rapidly. As long as the opponent couldn't defeat him in one fell swoop, he could grow stronger. Don't be too confident. I think your 2 brothers had the same idea, but their endings were not ideal. Goten smiled faintly. He knew Bergamo had special abilities to turn other people's attacks into his own power. But once the strength of the attack exceeded what he could bear, his ability would be ineffective. Bergamo gritted his teeth tightly. It seemed he had to deal with this guy. Along the way, he had to challenge those 2 guys from earlier. Only then could they regain the pride of the ninth universe. If both of you are ready, then let's get started. The Grand Priest's voice sounded again as he looked at the 2 fighters in the field. Wake up, brat. I won't be as careless as my 2 younger brothers. I will completely defeat you in an instant. Bergamo roared angrily, then rushed forward like a husky. As he leaped high, golden light was released from his fists, concentrating all his strength on them. He carried all the hopes of the ninth universe, so he couldn't afford any carelessness. Come on, bro! Come on, Bergamo! Cheered the people from the ninth universe, seeing such a ferocious Bergamo. In comparison, everyone in the seventh universe remained much calmer. They all knew Goten's strength. The guys from the ninth universe couldn't even beat Krillin and Trunks, so how could they be Goten's opponents? This was a completely different level of battle. Get the hell out of here, bastard of the 7th universe! Bergamo roared, his fists striking at Goten like lightning. Goten turned his body slightly, easily dodging Bergamo's attack. Ah-da-da-da! Bergamo wasn't discouraged. After the first attack missed, he launched another storm of attacks, but his speed was too slow. Goten only needed to move slightly to avoid all the attacks. Damn it! Why are the 7th universe warriors so fast? I have used my speed to the extreme, but I can't touch him at all, and this guy didn't even attack, so I can't absorb his energy to become stronger, Bergamo thought, as his attacks continued to fail. After dozens of unsuccessful attacks, Bergamo's expression became more and more serious. If this continued, he would face stamina problems, making it impossible to defeat the 7th universe's fighters. As Bergamo quickly thought about how to defeat Goten, Goten's slightly lazy voice sounded. Have you played enough? To be honest, your strength is as bad as your 2 younger brothers. It's a fool's dream to want to defeat me with this little power. Let me show you the gap between us. Goten had avoided attacking earlier because he didn't want to end the matches too quickly, fearing it would displease Zeno. But the 9th universe fighters were too weak, and he couldn't hold back any longer. What? Bergamo's expression changed instantly. In that moment of doubt, Goten's body was already in front of him, and his clenched fist landed on Bergamo's lower abdomen. Boom! Pfft! A mouthful of blood sprayed from Bergamo's mouth as he flew towards the stands of the 9th universe like a fired shell. His body hit the stands heavily, and he lost consciousness. What? Defeated in an instant again? Are the mortals from the 7th universe monsters? The Hakaishin of the other universes looked at each other in disbelief. It's unbelievable. They are ranked as second to last universe, but these guys show such great power. Even though our 2nd universe is ranked higher, our mortals absolutely cannot reach this level, remarked Helle's Hakaishin from the 2nd universe. After seeing Goten easily defeat Bergamo, all the Hakaishin began to whisper again, filled with surprise and disbelief. The power displayed by those 3 fighters from the 7th universe didn't match their low ranking. Who? Another instant defeat? This match is a bit boring. The Grand Priest sighed, looking at Bergamo, who had been punched unconscious. He had expected the 2 universes with similar overall mortal comprehension levels to bring exciting battles, but he didn't expect all 3 matches to end so decisively. Since he hadn't enjoyed watching it, Zeno likely hadn't either. Sure enough, just after the Grand Priest's voice fell, Zeno's voice sounded, "Hey, is this all over? But I didn't see anything just now, and I haven't watched it at all. Daishinken, what happened? Has the 9th universe been defeated?" Zeno looked at the Grand Priest with a confused expression, realizing the 3 small battles were already over. This kind of competition clearly couldn't satisfy his boredom. Yes, Zeno-sama. Although the progress of the game was relatively fast, it is indeed over. The 3 contestants from the 7th universe have all won, and they defeated their opponents in an instant. The Grand Priest nodded respectfully and replied, "Ah, is the overall strength of the 9th universe so weak? Such a weak universe, is there a need for it to exist at all?" Zeno said with some displeasure. He had wanted to watch an exciting battle, but didn't expect it to end so soon. The 9th universe was so weak. It seemed there was really no need for them to exist, and it was troublesome to manage. Zeno-sama, the overall strength of the 9th universe is indeed very weak. But if the 9th universe is erased now, there will be less fun in the Tournament of Power. Why don't we follow our previous plan and punish the losing universe after the Tournament of Power is over? The Grand Priest suggested quickly, trying to dissuade him. This was just an overview before the official match. It was just an exhibition. If the 9th universe was erased because of this, it would be unfair. Everyone in the 9th universe, after hearing the conversation between Zeno and the Grand Priest, were trembling with fear. Unexpectedly, with just 1 game, Zeno-sama would consider wiping them out. Okay, in that case, I will listen to you, Daishinkan, but I didn't enjoy watching it at all just now, Zeno said, still a little unhappy. The game had ended too quickly, and he didn't realize what had happened. There was no fun in this kind of competition. Zeno-sama, since you haven't enjoyed watching it, why don't we have another game? This time, let the Hakaishin of the 12 universes fight. The gap in strength between the Hakaishin shouldn't be too big, and the battle won't end so soon. More importantly, this match can be used to examine how the strength of each universe's Hakaishin is progressing, the Grand Priest suggested. Now, if they continued to let mortals compete, the gods would have to go to other planets to find some mortals to compete. By the time they found them, there might still be a significant gap in strength, and Zeno would not enjoy watching it much. It was better to have a fight between the Hakaishin of the 12 universes. The power gap between Hakaishin would not be so obvious, and the battle would definitely last longer, making it more enjoyable for Zeno to watch. Okay, Dai Shinkan, you are so smart to come up with such a good idea. In this case, let's hold another match between the Hakaishin as you suggested. Zeno nodded immediately, agreeing to the Grand Priest's proposal. It was just in time to see how the 12 universes Hakaishin had progressed over the years. What? Are you kidding me? Isn't this a match between the 9th universe and the 7th universe? Why did it become a match between the Hakaishin? Champa's face changed suddenly upon hearing the conversation between Zeno and the Grand Priest. The reason was simple. Because private battles between gods had been banned for millions of years, he hadn't had good training, causing his body to be seriously out of shape. His strength and physical fitness had declined significantly. Competing with those like Beerus now was obviously impossible. He estimated that he might be eliminated soon, and the result of elimination could be severe punishment or even erasure. A battle between all the universe's Hakaishin. This way I can finally have a good fight with that guy Beerus. This time I have to defeat him with my own hands. Quitella looked excited, looking at Beerus with provocative eyes. He had an arm wrestling match with Beerus long ago and won. But because Hakaishin were not allowed to fight privately, they never decided the true outcome of who was stronger. With the acquiescence of Zeno and the Grand Priest, he could finally defeat Beerus legitimately. Humph, garbage rat. Don't think you can get carried away just because you won the arm wrestling last time. In a real battle, I will easily knock you down, Beerus retaliated, seeing Quitella's provocative gaze. Fighting wasn't only about strength, but also about fighting skills. He was extremely confident in his fighting skills. Especially among the 12 Hakaishin, only he had mastered Ultra Instinct, which was a great advantage. The other Hakaishin were less enthusiastic about fighting each other. If they lost, they might face serious punishment. Many knew their strength wasn't as good as Beerus and Quitella's. As the Hakaishin contemplated, the Grand Priest's voice sounded again. Hakaishin of various universes, you should have heard what Zeno-sama and I said. Zeno-sama didn't enjoy the previous competition, so next, there will be a competition between the Hakaishin. Please be sure to show all your strength in the certified battle, because if you lose, you may face very severe punishment. TN. Try to add images for the Hakaishin in the paragraph comments whenever they are mentioned, with the name and image only. It would make your other fellow readers happy. Yes, if you don't show your strength and fight hard, you may be wiped out by me. So, fight with all your might. Although Zeno's tone was cute, it made all the Hakaishin present tremble in fright. They knew Zeno's tone sounded like a joke, but they couldn't take it as one. If they did, they would definitely pay the price in blood. Yes, Zeno-sama, we understand. All the Hakaishin bowed their heads in unison and answered seriously. They did not dare to slack off. Teehee weaker Hakaishin were even more frightened and trembling, including Champa. His strength had never been very strong, and he hadn't trained at all in the past 100 years. He spent his days looking for delicious food, so his body was seriously out of shape. Sometimes he got out of breath after walking for a while. Then all the Hakaishin gather in the arena. The Grand Priest's voice sounded again. Immediately, all the Hakaishin jumped and landed steadily around the ring. Huh? Only 12 of them will participate in the match? It seems a bit boring. Can Goten participate? His strength is also very strong. I really want to see him fight with the Hakaishin. Zeno looked at the 12 Hakaishin in the ring and then said with some dissatisfaction, since the last match between the 6th universe and the 7th universe, he knew that Goten's strength was not weaker than a Hakaishin at all. And this time, Goten seemed even stronger. If he could fight with the Hakaishin, the match would be more interesting. Mr. Goten of the 7th universe? But he's just a mortal. To participate in the battle of Hakaishin is not suitable for him, Zeno-sama, the Grand Priest asked with some doubts. Although he knew that Goten from the 7th universe had good strength and Weiss spoke highly of him, there should still be a big gap between him and a true Hakaishin. But I'd love to see it, Zeno insisted. If it was just the Hakaishin fighting, the battle would be less interesting. If Goten could also participate, this battle would definitely be quite exciting. All right, Zeno-sama, since you said so, then Mr. Goten, you also join the battle of Hakaishin. Seeing that Zeno was so determined, the Grand Priest could only nod and relay the orders to Goten. Goten froze for a moment, surprised that Zeno would let him participate in the match between Hakaishin. But Goten knew his current power was no worse than a Hakaishin. Even if he participated in this battle, he should be able to achieve good results. He was not afraid of all the Hakaishin. The only powerful thing about Hakaishin was their destruction ability, and now that he also possessed such a skill, he was not threatened by them. Okay, since Zeno-sama wants to watch it so much, then I'll participate. After a moment of surprise, Goten accepted. There was no other way. It would be obviously very foolish to disobey Zeno's orders. Are you kidding? Zeno-sama actually let a mortal from the 7th universe compete with us Hakaishin. This simply ignores our dignity as Hakaishin. No matter how powerful a mortal is, he is always an ant in the eyes of us Hakaishin. Does Zeno-sama really think that with this guy's outstanding performance just now, he has the qualification to compete with Hakaishin? Quitella frowned and whispered. He didn't care about Goten. Mortals would always be mortals, and there was a world of difference between them and a Hakaishin. The battle of the Hakaishin was not something a mortal was qualified to participate in. It seems that Zeno-sama really likes that mortal from the 7th universe. I don't know what kind of methods that guy used to get in his good graces, Belmod said with a look of disdain. Although that guy might have the strength to surpass Toppo, Toppo was just a candidate Hakaishin, and there was still an irreparable gap between him and a real Hakaishin. That mortal from the 7th universe? Last time it was because of his existence that our 6th universe lost embarrassingly. Let me deal with him this time. Since I can't beat other gods, can't I beat him? Champa also focused all his attention on Goten at this time. Although Goten had a very strong strength when he defeated Hit last time, that kind of strength was still unable to compare with a Hakaishin. Although Champa's strength had declined a lot due to lack of training and overeating, he was still confident that he could handle Goten. Heh! A bunch of stupid guys! How dare you despise Goten so much? It seems that you will soon pay a heavy price for your stupidity and ignorance. Beerus thought to himself as he saw the disdainful expressions of the other gods. He knew Goten's strength better than anyone. To be honest, even he might not be able to beat Goten now, let alone those guys from other universes. Whoosh! At that moment, Goten leaped and appeared in the ring, standing just 2 meters away from Beerus. Goten, be careful later. I've seen some guys who don't look kindly at either of us. Beerus glanced at Goten and reminded him. Beerus, you didn't have a good relationship with them before? But this shouldn't be a reason for them to vent their anger on me. But if they're really that stupid, I don't mind giving them a good beating. Goten smiled and said with a relaxed face. He was not afraid of these gods. My relationship with them has never been good. However, your involvement as a mortal in the battle against them makes them quite uncomfortable." Beerus nodded and said, "A mortal participating in the battle between gods might be seen as a humiliation for those self-righteous guys." "Yeah? If it's uncomfortable for them now, they might be even more uncomfortable later." Goten still looked very relaxed. If they were itching for a beating, he could only oblige. "Okay, everyone, I think everyone is almost ready, then please begin. The rules are the same. You will be eliminated from the round if you lose consciousness or are kicked out of the ring," the Grand Priest announced. Zeno looked excited. He hoped this match wouldn't end as quickly as the previous one. Otherwise, it would be too boring. On the stands of the 7th universe, Trunks clenched his fists tightly and said excitedly, "Great! The battle among the Hakaishin! I can finally see Goten's true strength!" Ever since he knew Goten, he had never seen Goten go all out in battle. Maybe today's battle with the gods would allow him to see that. Those gods look very powerful individually. "I don't know if Goten can defeat them," Krillin said with some concern. He had seen the true power of Beerus before, which was absolutely indescribable. The strength of gods from other universes must not be underestimated. Even though Goten's current strength was not what it used to be, defeating Hakaishin was probably not easy. "Please don't worry, Krillin. The power that Goten possesses now is not weaker than a Hakaishin. If they want to defeat Goten, their only chance is to fight together. However, the practice of joining forces to deal with a mortal being may feel like a humiliation to those proud Hakaishin, and they likely won't do that," Whis said calmly. After seeing Goten this time, he felt that Goten's strength had improved dramatically. There was no doubt that his current strength was definitely not weaker than Beerus's. Beerus was the most powerful existence among the gods. If other gods wanted to defeat Goten, it would be very difficult unless several gods joined forces. In the arena, all the gods were in no rush to start the fight. "Hey, Quitella! That guy Beerus is not easy to deal with. Let's work together to eliminate Beerus first. It's time to decide the final outcome," Belmod suggested to Quitella. If it were just an ordinary match, he would hope to fight Beerus fairly. But now, if they lost, they didn't know what kind of punishment they would face. This matter was not to be taken lightly. Although they hated Beerus, they had to admit that he was very strong. It was very difficult to defeat him alone. They could only join forces to eliminate Beerus first, and then decide the winner among themselves. "I agree. I don't like that bastard Beerus." Rumshi immediately nodded in agreement. The last time Beerus killed the candidate Kaioshin in the 10th universe, now it was just right to vent his anger. "I agree." Sidra also nodded immediately. His reasoning was simple. Those mortals from the 7th universe had defeated their 9th universe in a devastating manner, making him lose face as Hakaishin. More importantly, he was almost wiped out by Zeno. Naturally, he held Beerus responsible. Now that they were teaming up to deal with Beerus, he would not refuse. "Beerus's conduct was indeed not beautiful. Count me in this alliance of yours." Hellas also opted in. Several other gods from various universes nodded in agreement. Clearly, they had old feuds with Beerus. At this time, in the stands of the 7th universe, both Krillin and Trunks looked at Whis, dumbfounded. "Whis, what is going on? It seems that the gods from other universes are going to besiege Beerus-sama. Does Beerus-sama have a bad relationship with every other universe's Hakaishin?" Krillin asked, concerned. "Yes, the relationship between Beerus-sama and the other universe's Hakaishin is indeed not good. Tens of thousands of years ago, Zeno-sama once held a hide-and-seek tournament among all Hakaishin, and Beerus-sama dozed off during the competition for 50 years, resulting in the tournament being canceled. This caused everyone to be almost erased along with their entire universe by Zeno-sama, and the other Hakaishin had to calm him down. It was then that Beerus-sama formed a grudge with everyone." Whis nodded and explained. "But this is only one of the reasons. Another important reason was that Beerus was stronger than everyone else. They knew very well that if they fought alone, Beerus had the greatest hope of persevering until the end. So defeating the most powerful one first, and then fighting among themselves, was the best strategy. In the arena, Belmod looked at Champa and asked, "Hey, Champa, what do you say? Beerus is your brother anyway. If you don't plan to join forces with us, we can only eliminate you two first." "Heh, useless trash like you always likes to form gangs. Let me tell you now, even if you trash gang up on me, I will take care of you." Beerus clenched his fists, a sneer on his face, ready to fight. Even if the 11 Hakaishin teamed up, he wouldn't panic at all. Are you still so stubborn?" As expected of Beerus, Belmod snorted coldly. He then looked at Champa and asked, "Champa, what do you think? Will you join our alliance to fight against Beerus, or join Beerus and be defeated by us?" Champa's strength was average. If his final choice was to join forces with Beerus, it would not impact the final result. "Ha! I have some issues with this mortal from the 7th universe. Let me get rid of him first, and then we will talk about it." Champa looked at the crowd and said. He didn't really want to team up with others to bully his brother. His focus was on Goten. The 6th universe's loss last time was directly related to Goten. Today was a good time to take revenge on this brat. "Ah, that's good too." The other gods ignored Champa. Even the mortal being from the 7th universe had to be dealt with. "Yo, I didn't expect that there would be a battle between us. Next, I will take care of you." Champa revealed a bloodthirsty grin and said to Goten, "Indeed, I didn't expect that I would have to beat you up when we met for the 2nd time. I really cannot bear it. After all, the last time I beat your 6th universe, you ran away with your tail between your legs." Goten smiled and said to Champa. Sure enough, this sentence made Champa's teeth itch instantly. A mere mortal dared to be so arrogant with him. Did he really think after defeating Hit, he had the qualifications to challenge a Hakaishin? Show him today why Hakaishin is called Hakaishin. On the other side, Belmod spoke to the crowd. "Everyone, let's go together and defeat Beerus as soon as possible." They swarmed directly towards Beerus. Beerus grinned, showing no fear. Only the weak gathered in groups, and the strong simply disdained such shameless alliances. On the other side, Champa's body also flashed out. Then he punched Goten directly. He didn't go all out with this punch, because if he eliminated this kid all at once, it would be too easy on him. "Bring it on!" Goten sneered and punched out as well. Boom! The moment the two fists collided, both Goten and Champa were repelled by the terrifying force and took several steps back. What? This guy's has reached this level without the power of transformation?" Champa thought, astonished.